A lot has been happening in the last few weeks in the world of MMA and especially in the UFC. And I'm not talking about the actual events that the UFC has been putting on. And in fact, they have left a lot to be desired in terms of the shows they've been putting together. Now, that's a separate video, that's a separate analysis. And a lot of people within this space have already said a lot and have been saying a lot of the right things with respect to how Dana White has been acting and, in the public eye, in the public sphere. So when I say a lot's been happening, what I'm really referring to is there's been a lot of conversation going on, a lot of fans discussing some of the things fighters are saying. There seems to be a lot more talk by the fighters in recent memory. Um, And when I say talk, I don't necessarily mean their speech per se, but I'm talking about the things that they're doing and saying outside of the octagon. And I think that's left a lot of room for discussion with respect to the aura of some of these fighters. Because let's face it, aura is everything. In this world, in this business of fighting, your aura is how you market yourself. If you have peak aura, S tier aura, that's how you'll sell the pay-per-views, because people wanna see how you perform in the octagon. They wanna see if that aura that you've been building matches your performance in the octagon. Or better yet, they may be rooting against you because you have so much aura, they're like, "I wanna see this guy lose." I think the likes of McGregor and, Mayweather, I know he was a boxer, but he had that kind of because he was undefeated, people just wanted to see him lose. And he had that kind of braggadocious attitude that kind of contributed to his aura as a boxer, right? But today we're going to be talking about UFC fighters, and we're going to be talking about some of not every single UFC fighter on the roster. We'd be here for days, right? I'm going to be talking about some of the guys that have been making the rounds in the media spheres and ranking them on this tier list, with S tier being having the most aura you could possibly have, to D tier being the lowest amount of aura that you could have. So starting off, and then this is in no particular order. I probably should have ordered this, but it's okay. I'm doing this off the cuff, right? I've not been active the last couple of weeks, so you'll have to bear with me. This is my warm up back into it. So we've got Ankalaev, and straight away, I'm putting Ankalaev in the A tier, right? His fight style isn't exactly an aura building style. In fact, if anything, it kind of detracts from aura maximization, right? Because it just doesn't really knock people out. There's no kind of de- debilitating damage that he's putting on his opponents. And when you're a fighter fan, that's kind of what you expect to see from someone who you see as vicious, as menacing. We don't really see that from Ankalaev. I will say one thing, though. Ankalaev's Twitter game is actually not that bad. I don't know if it's him talking or if it's Ali Abdullah. He's managed by Ali Abdulaziz, isn't he? I forgot about that. For some reason, I was under the impression that he was managed by the Dagestani fella, Rizwan. I don't know if he's a. I think he does the same thing as what Ali does, right? I think he's a manager as well. I might be wrong there, but I think he is managed under Ali Abdulaziz. So I don't know what his relationship is to that Rizwan guy. Whatever. We digress. But his Twitter game, whether it's him or whether it's Ali, is besides the point. The point is, it's under his name. It's under his label, and I think they're quite funny. I think he talks a decent game, to be fair, and especially with what we've been seeing recently, with what he's been saying about the people in his division, him not being able to fight. I mean, a lot of people gave this guy shtick because they thought he wanted to fight Alex Bahia in Abu Dhabi, and a lot of people were saying he's entitled. How can you fight Alex Bahia, who's on a tear, and expect him to come to your backyard? But he fought him in Las Vegas, and let's be honest, that audience was definitely a pro Bahia audience. And look what Ankalaev did, especially given the hype that Pereira had cultivated over the recent, months and years at that time. And I think that moment in the fight where he almost knocked out someone like Pereira in the second round, I think it was end of the second round. Oh, it might have been the first round. That was quite impressive to see. I think just the fact that he's not even able to find people to fight him in his own division. We've got a Yuri busy taking university exams. I mean, for God's sake, you're a UFC fighter. Like, you're not going to be doing a career in law when all is said and done. Let's be honest, right? I don't know what he's studying, right? I don't think you're going to become a software engineer when all is said and done. Right? I don't see it happening. This is your career. This is what you have to monetize and commercialize. So the fact that he's got, Alex Bahia as well, struggling, having the UFC struggle to bring Bahia back into the ring, that speaks volumes, especially when you consider the kind of the personality and persona of these fighters. They're supposed to be badasses. You've got Bahia with his dark magic, his black magic, his voodoo skills. And look at that. Magomed Ankalaev, with the power of Islam, shut down that black magic, didn't he? Moving on up. Moving on up. I don't know what I'm saying. Moving on up. This isn't a fight card. Next up, Belal Muhammad. Now, this is going to be an interesting one because Belal Muhammad just lost to JDM. Here's what I'm going to say. That's an A-tier fighter right there. In terms of aura, because he went in there and we've never seen Belal fight to this degree of grit, to this degree of courage. I mean, earlier on, he wasn't like this. He wasn't this type of fighter who would just, take these massive bombs and try at least to come forward, right? And he tried. He lost. He came short because he wasn't the better fighter on the night, but he certainly tried and he gave it his all. And it was an amazing fight. I mean, his head was getting pinged backwards, but he was just taking it and he was wobbling a couple of moments. He still kept trying to come forward. It was awesome to see. And he didn't even try to take JDM down for the first couple of rounds. For all those casuals out there who talk all of this crap and nonsense about not liking fighters who wrestle, you've got to give Bilal all the credit in the world because wrestling is his bread and butter. He didn't even go to it. He didn't even try to go to it for the first couple of rounds. Now, granted, when he did anyway, I think for the most part, JDM was defensively sound. But for the first couple of rounds, he gave JDM a gift, an early Christmas gift. And I think that was awesome to see. That was two gladiators going at it. It was an amazing fight. And I think Bilal's aura kind of went up actually for me because we all thought if it was going to be a stand-up fight, he was just going to get knocked out. And don't get me wrong, he lost on the feet, but I think Bilal did better than I expected him to. At least better than what I expected of him. And so I'm going to give him that credit. So he's going to be an A tier as far as I'm concerned. Movsar Evloev. Man, this is a one big daggy glaze fest, unfortunately. But listen, here's the thing. Okay, let me just not put that anywhere for now. Here's the thing with Movsar Evloev. You have to understand. Movsar Evloev has not been given the title shot that he deserves. But he's still willing to go out there and fight whoever they put in front of him. I think it's confirmed. I think he's going to fight Aaron Pico next. There were rumors he was going to fight Pico. And then it was like, oh no, it's not going to happen. But I think just the other day it's been confirmed for Abu Dhabi, I believe, which I think is in July, if I'm not wrong. I think it's that card. And listen, man, everyone isn't even really complaining. Like he's kind of just taking these fights. That's a Chad mindset right there. I mean, we have a lot of other fighters like Leon Edwards complaining like a baby, like a whiny little baby about, oh, that's 9 fights in a row. That's 9 fights in a row. After he beat Nate Diaz and almost got knocked out by him. And here we've got freaking everywhere. Fair enough, you might think he lost, you know, you might have thought you won a robbery decision against some of these guys. But the fact is, he's fighting the best guys. He ain't fighting Nate Diaz 9 fights in a row. He's fighting the best. And he's still, he's doing well. He's doing well out there, you know? So listen, I'm not going to put him in A tier just because I don't think it's the same level. I think these guys are fighting champs. Evloev's not really fought a champ yet. I'm not really fought Aljamain, who was a former champ. That's a 135 coming up. You get my point. But I think he's going to be in a solid B tier. He's a Chad who will fight whoever they put in front of him. He's a B tier. B tier is good. It's not terrible. It's good. Chandler. My goodness. I mean, D tier. There's no way you can put him above D tier. This guy. Here's the thing. If he had any aura, if I concede the point that he even had any aura, it would only be because he would do this stupid thing on the mic after every fight that he loses. Where he's, I'll sit, Conor McGregor, get your canny ass back. And that was his thing. That was the only, I mean, that's not even aura, bro. Like, what are you doing? Fight the guys in your division. McGregor ain't coming back, bro. You ain't getting red panty night. Like, I'm sorry, it's not happening. So he never really had any aura. He just talked a bit of a big game and he just beat some old people. I mean, he lost the first round against Ferguson, knocked out Ferguson in the second round. Not really that impressive. Then he knocked out Hooker. I feel like Hooker just kind of was a bit nervous in there, right? The Bellator guy coming in, he shouldn't have been nervous. I think he does. I think Hooker beats Chandler in a rematch. They do that rematch. I think Hooker would win. And seeing how he's performed in his recent fight against Paddy, I mean, that's embarrassing, my friend. That is embarrassing. Don't get me wrong. I think Paddy did well. I think that looks good for Paddy. But Chandler, like, you got to do more. You're chasing this red panty night. It just doesn't look good. You look like a beta male, for a lack of a better. I know I hate using these, this beta alpha phrase. I really do. I hate it because, it's just like, what does it really even mean, right? But in this case, he's acting like a you know spoiled brat, so to speak. I mean, there was talks of him. I think he was saying he might get a title shot after like 1 or 2 wins. Like, no, you have to win at least 4 or 5 fights in a row if you want to even sniff the title shot again. So D tier is definitely not there. Chimaev, Chimaev's not really been active. I know. He's getting the title shot against Duplessis. He's definitely lost aura though. He's not really that guy that we thought he is. I'm not going to put him like in D tier, as we've been saying, but maybe a kind of not as high as Evloev. I think Evloev is a bit of a different story. I think with Chimaev, because of how much aura he initially had, the the dip that he's had in comparison is quite significant, right? If you were to treat them as, as a ratio, that would be that'd be a large discrepancy, right? From where he was when he was first coming to the UFC on that tear to now. He definitely has aura. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, the way he I know he beat Whitaker, but and I know a lot of people aren't really saying this, but I do feel there was, some kind of pre-existing injury. Not injury, but I think Whitaker just had a bit of a baby jaw, if I'm being honest with you. You could argue it was a strength of Chimaev that kind of took advantage of that and exploited that weakness of Whitaker, but it's just one of those freak injuries. Like, come on, that's not gonna happen to anyone else. I mean, he tried that against Kamaru, that didn't happen. I mean, do you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those. It's a 1 in 10 times that might happen or something like that. He has aura. That's why I'm putting him in. I'm putting him in B tier. He belongs in B tier. He's got aura, but A tier, you got to do something special. You got to kind of subvert expectations. That's what these guys have done. And Clive has subverted expectations. Bilal subverted expectations. And top of B tier, you kind of have to do that as well, but to a lesser degree. Put it that way. Leon Edwards, man, D tier, but I'd put him lower than Chandler even. I mean, come on. Come on, Leon. Come on, Leon. Don't let him bully you, son. Come on, Leon. He definitely did not come on, that's for sure. I mean, he was on that rise, but a lot of people weren't really talking about the quality of opponents that he was beating. I mean, he beat Nate Diaz, for God's sake. and he almost got knocked out by Nate Diaz. I should have told everyone everything we needed to know about Leon Edwards. And seeing that drop off, seeing him lose to Bilal, and seeing how Bilal lost to JDM, and now seeing Jordan Brady just piece you up for 3 rounds and then just submit you, just treat you like, you know, uh, a white belt in the. It leaves a lot to be desired as a fan of Leon Edwards. If you are a fan of Leon Edwards, I don't think he's got many now. He only had, if he had any fans, it was because of the headshot dead. But you knocked out one person your entire career. Like, why are we? Why are we? Let's not let our heads get too big now. Do you know what I mean? D tier. He just did not have. He's not even. At least Balal against JDM showed he had a bit of dog in him. Leon does not have that. You don't have any aura if you don't have a dog in you. D tier. Alex Bahia. I'm not going to put him in D tier, but it's definitely a C tier. It's definitely not the aura that he once had in his peak, in his prime. Even after he got knocked out by Adesanya and he went up to 205, he was knocking out Yuri, knocked out Jamal, knocked out Khalil. I mean, to be fair, some of those were on short notice, but you get my point. And some of those guys were actually coming off of injuries. If you actually do a deep analysis into these, those guys were coming off injuries, a good number of them. Maybe, maybe his loss to Ankalaev now isn't all that surprising when you take that into consideration, but he's definitely lost that persona that he had before, especially now with some of the tweets that he made that he deleted about him trashing the UFC and saying he didn't get what you want, bro. Just fight Ankalaev. Come on, stop messing around. You have a chance to just redeem yourself straight away by fighting the champ again, and come on, you gotta get this over with quickly. If you were the dog that you thought you were, you would have gone in there as soon as you could and put a beating on Ankalaev for what he did to you. But what can you say? Duplessis. He's got aura. I'm gonna put him above Ankalaev and Bilal in A tier. His aura stems from the fact that it's a couple of things. First of all, he has this ability to look so crap as a fighter, like skill wise, technique wise. It's like he's not practiced or trained a single technique in the training room. But then he goes in there and he's pushing guys back past the black lines against the octagon, headlocking Whitaker and just chucking him to the ground, and then submitting Adesanya. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is impressive to see, given how sloppy he looks. There's one more point as well. He's making guys cry. And that's impressive as well. He's making guys like Strickland, this macho man, right? This guy who talks about being alpha and all of this stuff. He's making that guy cry on podcasts. He made Adesanya cry, I think, in the press conference. He's making all these guys cry. And that's aura right there. Tom Aspinall, S tier. You have to put Tom Aspinall in S tier. I'm sorry. Like, if you just look at the stats of this guy, what does he have? The shortest average fight time? At least in the heavyweight division. Might be across the UFC, but he's knocking people out. You put away Pavlovich, put away Curtis Blades. He's got John Jones, apparently one of the best of all time, sprinting all the way to Thailand because he's scared of Tom. You had John Jones sprinting all the way to Thailand. He had to give John Jones. He forced John Jones to take a mental health break. That's what Tom Aspinall has done. And if we know John Jones, he's vicious when it comes to his words. We've seen what he did to DC, making DC cry and saying all of this stuff. And Tom Aspinall has that guy sprinting. Hey, don't mess with Big Tom, man. He'll come after you. Big Tom, S tier. If he talked a bit more, it would be good. But I feel like he's one of those guys that don't need to talk. There's some guys, they actually shouldn't talk. to preserve and maximize the aura. I think Tom is one of those guys. So he's in S tier. Yuri. I don't know why Yuri is on here. I think I had his image somewhere lying around and decided to chuck it in. But I'm gonna leave that to the side. We'll do Ian Gary. You know, I'm gonna put Ian Gary. Actually, I gotta put him in A tier. And I'm actually gonna slide him just a bit above Bilal because he's at least winning. Well, I know he lost to Shavkat, but that was a competitive fight and he's been at least winning more. Well, I say that and now I'm freaking backtracking. But the point is, he's fighting people low in the rankings. He's defending his spot. He's done that a couple of times. He's filled in short notice. He's shown he doesn't care who they put in front of him. He's willing to go out there and defend his spot. And you can say what you like about Ian Gary. You can say what you want about his personal life. But as a fighter, he has aura. He has a lot of aura. Now, granted, you can argue his personal life plays a role in the aura, but I think a lot of that stuff has just been twisted, has been misconstrued. I actually don't mind Ian Gary that much. I think he's an awesome fighter and he's willing to go out there against, you know, guys on like 10 fight win. What win streak was practice on? It was a long win streak. He's willing to go out there and put it on the line and take some big bombs as well. I mean, he took some big shots in that fight. He's still willing to go and press forward. The fact that he's willing to do that for the UFC, for the company, that puts him at A tier. John Jones. Listen, I know some people are tempted to put him in D tier. But you can't do that when you take into account his accomplishments. And I know he has the PED failures. That the PED tests are definitely a massive stain on the career of John Jones. But putting that to the side, he's got an awesome resume. Well, I say awesome. You take into account the ages and how old the people, how old the fighters were that he was fighting at that time. I mean, you can kind of go on, but the point is, he was winning those fights. And while I do agree, he doesn't really have the aura that he once had because you're sprinting from Tom. I mean, fight the interim. Why is the interim champ losing out on his career? I mean, that's how scared John Jones is. He's hiding away in Thailand behind palm trees because he's scared of Big Tom. C tier. Sarukian, C tier. But I'm going to put him at the top of C tier. You can't pull out like that, my friend. Now, listen, look, I get it. It might have been an actual legit injury. I'm not going to be that guy who's like, oh, it was a fake injury. But the point is, what is the perception by others? That's what matters when it comes to your aura. It's not necessarily the reality of the situation or what's actually true. It's about perception. And the perception is you had a little bit of a sore back and you pulled out and ruined a whole event. You're supposed to fight this guy, Makhachev. He beat you once. This is your time to get him. The perception is you had a bit of a sore back. The perception is that you slept on the wrong side of the bed. Your sleeping posture was a bit flawed, and you pulled out because you had a bad night's sleep. That's like me. When I sleep with an awkward posture and I wake up the next day, my back is a bit sore. Right? You can't be doing that, Armin. You can't be doing that. Nakachev. I'm gonna say if he had fought. See, it's all about perception, like I was saying. So I've got to put him in A tier, but I'm going to put him at the top of A tier just because his resume and what he's done is a lot more significant than these other guys. But if he was going to fight Topuria, he definitely would have been S tier. I'm going to put him in A tier because definitely the perception definitely is. And I don't agree with his perception. I actually completely disagree. But the perception by a lot of people is that he is scared of Topuria. He doesn't want to fight. I don't even agree with that. He wanted to move up to 170 before Topuria was even champ. When Topuria was ranked number 10 or something. No one even knew about Top Turo. Do you know what I mean? So Makhachev, I don't even think he's been ducking, but that's a side point. But the point is, people do think that. And so for that, he'll be in A tier, but at the top of A tier. Magomed, Ankle no, just do a Magomed ankle yeah, screw that, don't ask why. Listen, I'm trying to get back into this thing, right? Paddy. Ooh, Paddy. Paddy the baddie. Scousers don't get knocked out, lad. Men need to start talking, lad. Okay, Paddy is gonna go in. I want to put him in A tier, just because people did not expect him to win the fights that he's winning. In particular, I'm referring to the Chandler fight. He subverted expectations. That's what you want to see. You know what? I'm gonna put him at top of B tier. Mm, just because Chandler, is that really a good win though? Like, is that really a good win? Like, Ferguson won the first round. I'll put you on top of B tier though. It's like A B. It's in between. And I do think he could very well, be fighting for the title as well. But just the perception, I think, people are high on him, but I think he's like at the bottom of A tier slash at the top of B. Especially with the way he beat Chandler, that was really impressive. To be fair, maybe that makes him. I'll put my top of B. You can let me know if you agree with this ranking. Topuria S tier, no explanation needed. He's on a tear. Although I, again, it's about perception, right? I keep going back to this. It's about perception. A lot of people will say he's an S tier, but I do think he's left a lot to be desired as far as not fighting the contenders in his own division. Yet he's calling out Makhachev as a coward or as a duck when you did what you're claiming he's doing, except he's had 4 title defenses. It makes no sense. The UFC fighters are some of the dumbest people you'll ever speak to. It makes no. I'm gonna make a whole separate video about that, but you get my point. Volkanovski, ooh, Volk. I want to put him in A tier, man, just because he beat an up and comer in Diego Lopez and did that to become the 2-time featherweight world champion. That is impressive. That's exactly what you want to see from a Chad and BMF like Volkanovski. Kudos to Sean Brady. Ooh, I want to put him right up there in A tier as well. The way he beat Leon Edwards. He beat Leon Edwards in a way that no one. I didn't even expect him to. I did not expect him to beat him like that. I thought maybe he might decisionate him, out wrestle him for 5 rounds. He bodied that guy and just walked him down. He dog walked him and just submitted him. Just did what he wanted to him. That was impressive. Yuri, I believe Yuri. I don't know why. I can't be asked to Yuri. Yuri, why are you taking university exams, my friend? You're a fighter. You know what? You know what? Just you know what? I respect it. It can be difficult studying for exams. I'll put him in C tier. I respect that. He's got that academic aura. I respect that. And Kalai I've already done. Let me know if you guys agree with these rankings. I thought it'd be a fun little video to talk about the aura of some of these fighters because there's been a lot of talk, a lot of discussions happening lately. I'm going to make a separate video talking about the state of the UFC and MMA because there's been a lot going on, a lot of news going around. People talking about Makachev being a duck, him now fighting JDM. Uh, RDR versus Bo Nick, RDR fighting, Whitaker. We've got some matchups there. I should have put Bo Nickel on here, but you know exactly where Bo Nickel's going to go. Straight into D tier. I don't have his image. You know what? Pretend this is Bo Nickel. There we go. Right in D tier. And for obvious reasons, right? But yeah, there's a lot happening. I'll probably make a separate video just talking about the state of the UFC. Let me know if you guys agree with this ranking. I'll talk to you next time.